It's episode 189 of the Synth Network show, and here we are again. Another week has flown by. It's 17th of November 2023. Winter is coming. Certainly feeling a lot chilly around here, especially because my radiator is broken, and I've got to move all of this lot next week for them to come in and fix it. So you can tell what I'm going to be doing next week, and I'm not going to be happy bunny, but there you go. Welcome, as always, to the show. There's just the three of us today because Ben is out gigging, earning a shiny penny for his immeasurable skills. But we've got a few things to talk about. News, again, has kind of dropped off. It's a bit up and down, and this week is a kind of a downish week. But, of course, there's loads of Black Friday things that I'm sure you're out there buying and spending all your hard-earned cash on right before Christmas and Thanksgiving. But we'll sort of talk about that a little bit later in the show. In the meantime, let's just remind you, of course, that please, if you do like the show, say so, or just click that thumbs up. And if you don't like the show, click the thumbs down. Give us the old Joaquin Phoenix thing, you know. If you want to comment, during the show, there are chat facilities available. They are on YouTube and Twitch and Facebook. We get all of those messages in here, and we broadcast on all three of those platforms, including X. But if you message us on X, we don't see it in the chat. So try and come over to one of these more hospitable places and interact with the rest of the audience. Thank you very much. If you haven't already, do subscribe to the show. It does help us a lot. It kind of, it warms the cockles of our hearts to know that there are people out there that appreciate what we do. So if anything, it just gives us a little boost. And of course, if you know people that don't watch the show and you think they might like the show, then tell them about it. Word of mouth. It does work. If you want to make a donation to the show, you absolutely do not have to. I don't know if Andrew Brooks has done his old whinging and moaning thing. No, he hasn't yet, but that might kick him into shape. But yeah, if you want to leave a donation, then you can do so using YouTube's Super Chat or Super Stickers, where we get a significant percentage of what you donate, and of course YouTube take a tiny little bit themselves. Or you can donate to us through PayPal, where we get everything. So it's entirely up to you. It's not obligatory or mandatory. We just use it to keep the show running. It pays for all the license fees and everything else. So thank you very much in advance. We've already had one lovely donation from Stephen Smith over there in Australia for $20 Australian. Thank you very much indeed. Now then, what else have we got? Oh, yes. If you want to find us on social media, we are there at X. We are there at Instagram. We are there at Facebook, where our main sort of like internet presence is. We should get a website really one day. That'd be an interesting thing. And of course, you can find us right here on YouTube. The handle is the same at Synth Network across all of those platforms. And if you have a question during the show, you want to chuck your tuppence halfpenny in on a particular subject or topic, then prefix your question with the big capital Q. That helps us find it and stick it in the bucket, and then we can bring those out as and when. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the housekeeping. Yay, all done. Let's move on. Let's have a quick look in the chat. Yes, see, we shamed him. Not that one, that one. Whinge, moan, grumble, growl. There we go. £5. Thank you very much indeed, Andrew. It's much appreciated. Every week, it really is. And also, thank you to Andrew Brooks. And I don't know if Andy Synth Addict and Ben Musines are in the chat, but those three lovely people moderate the chat room. It's the easiest job in the world because you're all a bunch of lovely, lovely people and you don't cause any hassle or trouble. So it's their easy job. But I tell you one thing they do during the show is that when we're talking about topics, they throw the links in the chat. So if you want to nip off or bookmark it for later, they provide that service, and it's all free of charge. Get that, eh? So thank you very much indeed. Let's just get Andrew off the screen there. Otherwise, he thinks he's all important and stuff. And let's bring in the rest of the team. First of all, let's go across to the west side of London, and bring in Mr. Ken Spong. Hi, sir.
Hello.
Are you all right?
Well, as you know, no.
Yes. What an unfortunate thing.
I've had a week.
Haven't you just?
Yeah.
But never mind, it's Friday.
Oh, wonderful.
It's it's the end of the week almost.
Oh, good.
It is difficult. I must sympathise. When you work from home, it is difficult to get excited about a weekend because you're always at home.
Yeah, and always working.
And always working. Yes, exactly.
I think there's a weekend. Good God, sir. Yeah, I know. Oh, mate. What a week.
Yes. Oh, well, look. Say, you're here now, so you can have 2 hours respite.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah,
What more could you want?
That
And
cheers
you're
me
doing
up.
something tomorrow night as well, aren't you?
Yeah, apparently so, yes.
Synthesizers in space.
Yes, or something
Something
similar.
like that.
Yeah. Or is it something like stylophone in a bin? So, something like that.
Something like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, Henrik, or AKA JX3D, again, I don't know if he's in the chat, but if he is, hello. He's doing a stream tomorrow, like kind of 10ish, is it? Tomorrow night UK time, or is it a bit earlier? I can't remember. Oh, it's 8. It's 8 o'clock, so it's almost like a Saturday pub.
Well, there will be a Saturday pub after it.
Oh, okay. So post show, cool.
Yeah.
And
Dominic
he's
got back
going to
downstairs
have
again.
Yeah, so he's going to have you, Howard Scarr,
Yeah.
the great Howard Scarr,
The great Howard Scarr.
the fantastic bearded wonder that he is, author of many awesome patches. Ken Flux Pierce, the amazing ASM go-to guy.
Yeah.
So he'll be there as well. And there's a couple of other people, or there is at least one other person whose name I didn't quite recognise, but I'm sure they're awesome too.
Yes.
So if you're all looking for somewhere to go on a Saturday night or Saturday afternoon, if you're in America, or maybe it's Sunday morning if you're in Australia, 8 o'clock UK time, JX3D, and synthesizers in space.
Stylophone in a bin.
Should we do it? Stylophone in a bin.
Yeah, it's got a bit of ring to it. Yeah, that works.
Lovely to see you, mate, as always.
Nathaniel.
With your fucking M8X there, glowing lovingly next to you.
Yeah.
Yes. Talking of which, there's another person who's got a lovely M8X glowing lovely next to him. It's damn sight more attractive. But hey, it's Andrew Longhurst, who's just made it, literally. He's by the skin of his...
No, I didn't. They made it. They
bits.
delivered it. They delivered it. I didn't
No.
make it. I didn't make it.
How are you, sir?
I'm here to bring the energy and the good vibes to the chat in it, though.
Okay, good luck with that.
I'm good. It's been a stupid busy... I think everyone's having stupid busy weeks.
I think we get it all out of our systems just before Christmas or Thanksgiving or whatever it is.
Yeah, but I always plan to have Christmas sort of a chill-out time, and it never happens. There's always some bugger wants something urgently, and they just pay enough to make it work a bit like that. But there we go.
I literally shut up shop for like 12 days. That's it. Nothing gets in, nothing goes out.
Well, that's what happens when you sell second-hand migratory geese for as a shop thing.
Do you know, I keep trying to persuade the wife to
to migrate.
No, to have a goose for Christmas dinner one year because
We had one last year. It's lovely.
Yeah, I think I had one many years ago, and because I'm a big fan of duck and that, so goose would be a lovely thing to have. But no, I don't like. I've never cooked one of those before. It'll be lamb or something.
Let's bring us all in. Why don't we?
Anyway, so welcome one and all. Imperfect says, are the T-shirts on sale? Are they for official use only? That's a good question. It is something it's in my queue of things to do. So we had some T-shirts made, and I'm saving those. I owe 2 people T-shirts I know of. I need to get one to Manny because I promised to give him one and a T-shirt at Synth Fest, and we got so carried away that I completely forgot. So I've got put one side for him. Mr. Brooks, we owe Mr. Brooks one because his one was faulty. So we need to get. So I do have a few here, but if you are coming to Synth East, which is happening in Norwich next year in February, I will have a handful of T-shirts to give to people who make it worth my while, if you know what I mean. I'll have some there. We're going to have a stand. We're going to have a stand at Synth East.
Sell them.
Yeah. Well, that's another thing. That's why I was kind of looking into them, so we can get a whole bunch to sell.
I know someone that makes T-shirts.
I know, and I've got those details.
Hurrah!
But I want to make sure that people all around the world can buy them, and that we have to do as little as possible in terms of the admin, because I don't need that hassle in my life.
That's a very good point. Yeah.
So I will be looking for suppliers, providers of services.
Kent could hand deliver them. He doesn't mind going out.
Yeah, as long as you live within a throwing distance of.
Well, I won't be using the Mustang, will I?
No.
Why?
I don't want to talk about it because I don't want to depress you.
What's happened?
Somebody slashed the Mustang's rear tyre.
Yeah.
What?
The expensive tyre.
Yeah, the expensive, big, fat, white-walled one.
That is just shy of 4 figures in value.
Jesus.
Yeah.
So,
and you got the bastard on camera.
Yeah, but you can't make out who he is.
You can't make out who
he is. He's already pre-tooled up, isn't he?
He's hooded up.
Hood and mask and things. So.
Why do people do that stuff? Why do people damage other
Why
people's
people?
stuff?
Why people?
Just why people?
Why people? Yeah.
Yeah, well, there is that.
And on top of that, I've been working on a memory moog all week.
Oh dear!
That's
At least
your
it wasn't a
favourite
Prophet
synth in the world
5.
ever, isn't it?
Oh, mate, even the pitch wheel didn't work. I mean, it's just a wire, And the dishwasher. Oh, the dishwasher. I've been trying to fix the dishwasher this week. I'm not kidding you. If I go another 2 days without the dishwasher, I'm going to be having breakfast of scrambled egg and eating it with a comb out of a shoe.
Oh, jeez.
And I will get it going tomorrow. I will. I promise. I will fix that pump and it will work. It will work. And
You've got a contribution there.
oh, good God, no. No.
It's
No.
done.
No.
It's done. Wagyu's just given us a 10 Swiss chuffs, and he sold all his synths and bought a Genos too. I wish that was true. I really do, but it's not. But we will be talking about the Genos too. Oh, he's had, yeah. I'd rather have a frontal lobotomy. No, hang on.
He ran out of O's.
I'd rather have a bottom in front of me than a frontal lobotomy. Or it's the other way round.
A full bottom in front of me than a full front, yes.
Yeah.
Both
Something
seem
like
to
that.
smell bad.
Thank you, Matt. Or should I say on behalf of Kent? Thank you.
Oh, stop it, Matt.
So, anyway, gentlemen, thank you all for your generous donations to either PSN or to getting Kent some rubber on his wheels. That sounds a bit wrong, doesn't it?
It's not like it was going anywhere.
Let's get Kent some rubbers. Well, this is true. Put some pram wheels on there.
Just cut out a cardboard, painted it black, and just laid it up against the side of the car. Nobody know.
John's bought you a valve.
Oh, that's always useful. Thank you.
Always
for
useful.
that. I need that for the Chrysler, I think.
So thank you ever so much, gentle people of the world. We love you all, and it's fantastic to see. Right, should we crack on with some stuff, because it's kind of why people are here, I guess. I don't think they just want to hear us rattling on about tires and other stuff that isn't synthesizer related. Oh, look at that. Armoured tyre fund. There we go. That's going to make it awfully difficult to separate out, but we'll sort something, I'm sure. Right, so let's see. What shall we kick off with? Well, let's kick off seeing as stop it with your OCD-inducing donations. 151? What the hell? Thank you, but thank you.
This is much more fun than synthesizers, right?
We just sit here gathering money. Take your children in need and shove it up your arse. This is where you need to be to raise money. This is it. Tonight in the UK, right, it is Children in Need Night on the BBC, which is a telethon, a charity telethon, raising money for sick and deprived and depraved even children in the UK.
This is a Spongathon.
This is a Spongathon, absolutely. But yeah, most people tonight will be watching something else, and I'm sure lots of people who donate, because they always seem to end up guessing a huge amount of money, even in these tough times. But yeah, this is our Spongathon. There we go.
There we go.
Mustang owners in need. There we go.
Spongathon.
Oh, apparently Andrew's thing was supposed to say get a sensible car, but I think it was censored. Andrew made a spelling mistake.
He did.
Everyone,
did.
I'm going to leave that on screen.
Yeah.
Andrew made a spelling mistake.
That's
Andrew, go and chastise yourself roughly.
That is a gif right there.
Yeah.
I'll store that one. There we go. Self-flagellate.
So, yeah, what we need to do is auto-correct your tyre.
Indeed. Oh, Jesus.
Steve, you're bankrupting yourself, mate.
Yes.
Have some smart. Listen, take Smarties, Steve. You need lots of Smarties now to just calm down.
Gold-plated wheels at this rate. Come on.
I've got to go pick my daughter up tonight. I'm still drinking orange squash. How good am I? Go figure.
I'm drinking water.
Okay. Let's do some news, because there has been some, and Wagyu has already mentioned it. In fact, why don't we watch the promo video while Rob does his job properly and gets the webpage organised? So yeah, let's have a watch of this.
Yeah.
There you have it. The Yamaha Genos 2. I tell you now, working men's club singers and saga cruise duos are rejoicing in the aisles as we speak at the introduction of the new Genos 2. So in case you... And this, I was slightly dubious about putting this on a synthesizer show, but I wrote the article, all right, for Gear News, and it got thousands of views in about 3 days. I couldn't believe it. So I thought, yeah, why not? Let's do this. So the Genos 2 is a workstation arranger, or an arranger workstation, however you want to put it. It's a band in a box. It does everything. It's like a glorified, very expensive PSR. So you have the chord arranger things, and you can sequence stuff, and it's got multiple synthesizers. Actually, this has got 2 synthesizer engines. Normally, it's just the one. Now, what surprised me about this is they've included, as you saw there from the rather cheesy segue into the denim jacket and the glowing lights, they've basically chucked a DX7 in there. It's a 6-operator FM engine that is completely compatible with the DX7, and you can import. In fact, you don't have to import. You've got all the factory patches there as standard. and a whole bunch of new things as well. And that supplements the existing AWM engine. Now, it's worth pointing out, it's not AWM2, and it's not FMX. This is not what you guys have got next to your right arms just there. However, get this, it's more expensive than a Montage M8X.
What the what?
This has, at the moment, the cheapest I've seen is 4,990 of your euros. Which is about 980 something euros difference, I think. I might be wrong. Between that and the Montage M8X, which comes with a full 88-note weighted poly aftertouch keyboard, AWM2, FMX, and ANX, and all that other gubbins. It is a huge chunk of change, as Robert Fitzgerald said. I called him Robert there. I've just extended your name. I'm assuming you might be a Robert. It is one Piracy Lambarder generator. These are the keyboards that you will see at working men's clubs or those trendy wine bars where some slimy guy in a sequin jacket is serenading the ladies to get them slightly drunk, and then they'll spend
cheesy
money.
Cover bands are getting paid far too much these days.
And if you go on a cruise, as in a sailing cruise, not another type of cruise, but maybe you will. But on a sailing cruise, you usually get the husband and wife duo, where she warbles along to his cheesy rendition of, I don't know, Hungry Like the Wolf or something. This is it. Now look, let's be serious here. It has got a lovely large touch screen, so that you do get some of that for your money. It actually kind of looks a bit. Let me just get rid of that comment off the screen there. It does look a little bit like a
lifeboat. Like a lifeboat is what.
Well, like a lifeboat. Yeah. Well, if you're on a cruise ship, that maybe is what you need. So it's got lots of nice knobs and faders, and it's got that second screen, albeit a little bit smaller. You've got the big touch screen as well. You can't program any of the sounds on here. You just pick from the presets, but it's got an enormous amount of backing tracks and styles, as they call them. There's over 1,900 voices and 800 styles, all with like one touch setting. You've got the biggest backing band in the world. It's got that CFX piano, but it only has a 76-note FSX style keyboard, which is the same that you get in the Montage 7. It's got an HDMI port. I'm not entirely sure why.
Aftertouch?
I think, let's have a look. Specs. It must have aftertouch if it's an FSX. Yes, it has. Yes. So it's got initial touch and aftertouch, and you've got different velocity scalings. There's a joystick. I'm struggling here to find. It's even got less polyphony than a Montage M. But yeah, this is an instrument for a particular type of musician who's working in a particular industry. This is not for us, but I thought it might be.
But so's an injured cat.
Yeah. They have their fans. I was just amazed. I mean, Wagyu apparently has cleared his entire studio and bought one. He's a big fan. I don't know whether he's being serious. I really don't. But yeah, it's not for us. But yeah, I mean it's got some interesting specifications. Pretty powerful stuff. If you're looking, for somebody to, for a machine to take care of all of those things that a band would normally do. It's got a big sequencer in there, and you can record audio into it, and you can import stuff into it as well. It's got about 3 gigabytes of internal storage. Reads SMF formats, general MIDI, XG, all of that stuff. So yeah, and it's 4,990 of your British pounds. Of your European euros. British pounds would be a little less, but there you go, gents. Are you regretting your Montage M8X purchases, thinking you should have gone with the Genos 2?
Oh, hugely.
Mm.
Yeah, hugely.
with him.
I mean, I've been sitting here waiting. If I'd known that the Genitals 2 was coming out, I would have, mate, you know, because one thing I really, really want to be able to do is do Babylon is Burning, but in the style of a mariachi band. That would, yeah.
Oh,
yeah, I can. Well, like I said earlier, I think I know why it's this price, because it's that Sinclair. Not Sinclair. What? Who? Where?
Who? What? How did that happen?
Sinclair. No. Let's try that again. The thingy I got in the workshop, the Clavinova market.
Clavinova, yes.
Right. Where what they do is they take a very, very cheap keyboard and put it into a very expensive case. Yours for only 5K. So, and this is the portable version of said equipment. So it's kind of a different market. So I think they're hoping that the people who would be buying these, you know, wouldn't know a Gemini or whatever if they fell out of a tree on them, you know. They're not aware of them and their pricing and what they do. And this is like, it's the band in the box kind of scenario. Yeah. But I don't know.
I imagine if you're a lounge pianist, or you know, somebody's working on the cruise ships, you'll be able to cover this within just a few gigs, I would have thought. If this is you, if you are a one-man performer, or a one-woman performer, or a one-person performer, this is everything. And you take all the proceeds from the night. You don't have to split it with the drummer and the bassist. You take everything. And so, you know, it's a proper tool, if you know what I mean.
Well,
Andrew.
I'm trying not to swear. I mean, I'm so violently against this. I can't tell you, because, I mean, I get that it's got a market, and those people should probably be given lots of medication and be under observation by the various organs of the state, because they're not well. And it's probably just, having said that this will be used on cruise ships, it's probably just killed the cruise industry. The fact that I did have a listen to the video a bit more, one of the other vids, and the sounds, the presets that are on it just aren't very good. There's one or two that are sort of all right, but the whole point of this kind of thing is being able to, I mean, I know I've got this, but being able to tweak and make it work and articulate, I just think it's horrible. Yeah. I just think it's horrible bag of shite. But I will say one good thing for it. I don't have one.
Shades of Terry Jones.
There we go.
Take all your clothes off, though.
No bare
Yeah. I mean, but seriously, what I don't understand is, if you could, I get that there's a market for this kind of thing. Why wouldn't they have put at least a slightly better semi-weighted keyboard with full aftertouch, maybe even some poly or whatever? But you don't need that for the gig scene, right? But some level of programmability, make it look a bit nicer. I just don't get it, and I don't get it at that price. That looks to me like a $2,000 instrument. Really,
I read a post on some. In fact, it was in a Yamaha montage user group thing, forum type thing, from a disgruntled Genos 1 owner. Number one, he really shouldn't have been posted, because none of us care about the Genos, but he actually left a superbly long outline of everything that was wrong with the Genos 2 coming from the Genos 1. And it seems like Yamaha have kind of been a bit sort of...
Have they done a Korg?
They've said it's an update, and it's just... In fact, in some cases, it's actually... I think the Genos 1 got more storage on it than the Genos 2. So, yeah...
Why not AWM2?
Why can you store?
I know. Sorry?
How much shit can you store?
Well, indeed. This, to be fair, this is not for the likes of us. This is probably not for the likes of anybody that's watching this show. And I apologise if it is.
It's more expensive than this.
But yeah, if you've got $4,000 or $5,000 to spend on an instrument, you're obviously going to be thinking, how am I going to use this? If I'm going to be using this to make my own sounds and have the power of virtual analog and FM and sample-based stuff at my fingertips with pianos that sound like they've just come out of the Yamaha factory and all sorts, then the montage is clearly your baby. If you sit on stage night after night entertaining crowds in rooms, and you need to be good, and you need to sound good, and you need it to be simple for you to get that fulsome band sound,
then you go and buy a proper keyboard.
Then you go and buy this.
No,
but you do. No, seriously, go to these places. You will see genoses and these Casio things and all of these arranger workstations all over the place. And I do know that, some people in our community, when you see the range of keyboards that people have in their studios, 10 minutes on the Genos.
Yeah, come on, pad it out.
There are people that have a good mixture, and sometimes the Genos or something similar is in there. It appeals to certain people, clearly, because there's a market for it. But
none of the people here.
None of the people.
Can we have a look at a synthesizer? Can we have a look at the synthesizer?
And on that note, let's cleanse our palates. Let's have a look at something that is kind of new and is kind of exciting. Let's have a quick look at this. Ends rather abruptly, that one. This is the S4 sculpting sampler from Torso, although it's kind of... Well, let's have a look at the... idiot. Sorry.
Sorry about that. I didn't mean to be an idiot.
Let's put this on the screen. So for some reason, I think my iMac has heard that I'm going to be replacing it soon, and it's just starting to go, no, right, okay, I'll show you. So here it is, the S4 sculpting sampler. They claim it's a 4-track sampler, manipulator, sculptor that uses the tape editing paradigm, but in the modern digital age. And it looks a kind of interesting thing. It reminded me very much of this unit we saw at Superbooth, whose name escapes me right now. It's what was it called? Began with a G. I'm sure somebody in the chat will tell us. It began with a G, and it was this granular thing that had this screen you could sort of move around. It was all very tactile, and this looks a little bit like that. Looks a very interesting unit, and let's bring so there it is in all its glory. Nice big screen for the size, and you can mess around with that, and you can play it as an instrument. You can MIDI into it and play it as an instrument. Use it as a kind of 4-track tape machine if you want to, an effects processor, a MIDI control sampler. It's a very, very flexible piece of gear, and I like that kind of sleek black dark look. It's $899, which again I didn't think was incredibly expensive for what it is. It looks a very, very nice thing.
So is there going to be a long period of time between ordering and getting?
Estimated shipping time is March, so 3 months or so.
Yeah, I was going to say, because every single, the video and every photograph is a CGI.
Yes. But it looks a nice little thing.
Do you know what? After the Genos, I'd have applauded a Behringer something straight away. But I like this. This is going in a different direction to an awful lot of other sort of devices in that you can play 4 tracks. I don't know if you can do a looper thing and then process those, so you can have one running length time and one doing looping and granular or whatever. But it seems that's kind of the deal. So this is a 4-track recorder stroke granular mangler stroke all sorts of other things. I think this would be absolutely amazing to play with. It's odd in that it's only got 4 tracks, but I think that's probably, so it's stereo tracks, so it's probably as many as you need. I can see this being used for remixes, for EMOMs, doing stuff on the fly. I'm really interested in this, and I think I'm going to try and get my hands on one just to play around with it at the very least. It's a different it's a different thing, isn't it? It's not a digital recording device per se. It's not a tape machine or a DAW, and it's not a sampler. But it's all of those things, and it's not an instrument. It's a really interesting thing. Yeah, really interesting.
I'll still try. Somebody in the chat, please put me out of my misery. What was that? Granulous tabletop sampler that we saw at Super Booth this year. It's just completely gone out of my head. Somebody please, because this is what it reminds me of, but in a much more compact and slim and maybe not quite as powerful package. But yeah, GR1, that's it. Thank you very much, Tracker Jack. So yeah, the GR1. Was it Tasty Chips? I think it was Tasty Chips. But yeah, it looks very nice. There,
4 gig of flash memory.
Mega. There you go. Yeah. So it kind of struck when I saw this. I thought, oh, it's like a smaller, sleeker version of one of those. GR Mega. That's the other one. Thank you very much, gentlemen. Yeah, it's got Wi-Fi with Ableton Link as well, which is interesting. Yeah.
Polyphonic sample player, so it does do polyphonic sample.
Yeah.
As well as generative sequencing tools. So it just seems to be an odd mix of playback, recording device and sampler, but I can't quite work out which. And I actually want to play with this.
Yeah, maybe that's the cool thing about it.
Is anyone in the chat sort of banging off about this yet? Because it looks...
yeah, I think some people are interested. Kent, you got any thoughts on this?
Apart from, yes, I shouldn't have called it CGI. I should have said CG or rendered. I don't know. This is a shadowy area for me. But I thought there was loads of things like this out there already.
There are similar things.
What's the most striking thing about it?
The fact that it does on-the-fly granular as well as playback. You can play back 4 stereo tracks at the same time.
So you're playing stuff back at the same time as you're manipulating other things.
And you're playing it, and you're actually able to play it at the same time. That's what I don't know what polyphony it's got. It just seems like a really odd, weird, and I like odd and weird. That's why why Kent's here.
Yeah, I know. He won't leave me alone, you know.
No.
Pest. Yeah. Yeah. No. Okay. Cool.
Another $5 for the shop.
Kent's shop.
I give it. I'll give it a thumbs up.
Kent gives it a thumbs up. There we go. We should actually bring in a rating system, shouldn't we?
Yeah.
So we
2 thumbs.
Yeah. 1 thumb, 2 thumbs, or no thumbs.
Or no thumb. Down thumbs.
Ready?
And that's not a thumb, by the way. Oh no, it is. Yes, there is. No, I like this. I'm interested to see. I'm not that interested that I'm going to pre-order one, but I'm interested to see what other people think of it when they get one.
And what other people do with it. Yeah.
Yeah. They can spend.
I think it could be a really good creative tool. That's what that's what I think. I've just got a feeling it's going to make it's going to be used a lot, creatively.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
Cool beans. Well, there you go. That's torsoelectronics.com. I think the guys did put the chat in the link in the chat even. So go and check that out and say it's $899 as a pre-order, and they will start shipping in March. So there you go. Let's have a look here. We did talk about the Genos 2 for an awfully long time, which is probably just as well because it is a fairly slow news week. So let's just see what else we can natter about inanely for a few minutes. Well, while we do that, let's remind everyone that next week there's something new coming from Cherry. 21st, go and subscribe to their YouTube channel, and they've already got the live video premiere page ready to go. So there's a brand new synth coming from Cherry Audio. The guys from Cherry Audio will be joining us. They can't join us the Friday immediately after, which is next week's show, but they're going to come on the show after that. So I believe it's going to be Dan and Mitchell, and there might be a surprise guest, but I can't say who that is because it might give away what the new Cherry Audio synth is.
I thought the video did, actually.
Well, the videos are always a clue.
Yeah.
But this more so than some of their others, perhaps.
Yeah, maybe this one's slightly less obvious, less not obvious. You know what I mean. But yes, Cherry Audio, new synth, coming out on the 21st, which I believe is Tuesday. Talking of other new synths, and I apologise to everyone at Cherry Audio for following that piece of news with this, but even the mighty Behringer put out a little video on their Facebook, on their YouTube channel, not just their Facebook, on their YouTube channel, which means they must be serious. Not teasing, but telling us that a new synth is coming, and it's been 6 years in the making, and we will find out about it. $3.5 million apparently has been invested in this thing. So the advert says. So we can only take it for that. And it's coming on the 20th. And the smart money, or the smartish money, is on us finally seeing their clone of the Oberheim. This is the so-called UBXA. Now, I'm not sure whether it's the desktop version or the keyboard version. I think if they want to live, it'll be the keyboard version, because I think that's what lots of people have been kicking their doors down for. The other thing it could possibly be is their CS80 clone. But
it's $3.5 million.
Boat sailed.
But yeah, we've only seen mock-ups of the CS80 or the DS80, whatever they want to call it. But we've actually seen real-world UBXAs, actual physical products, albeit in an unfinished state. So, watch this space on Monday. Well, not this space, but their space on Monday for that. But certainly the far more interesting and exciting one is coming on Tuesday, which is the new Cherry Audio synth. As I said, the guys will be on the show, not next week, but the week after. And we are keeping our little fingers crossed for a very special extra guest as well.
I don't quite understand why you spend $3.5 million on something which is a copy. Research and development, $3.5 million on something that's a copy. I would really hope they bring out something completely original. Wouldn't that be photocopier?
Yeah.
But we'll see.
Indeed, we will, and I'm sure we'll be talking about it next week, and everybody else will, because that's just what happened with them. So there you go. Anyway, yeah, there you go. That's where they spent $3.5 million.
Yeah, because if it is the
they're bringing out a
UBXA.
Genos 2.
Genos, yeah. Benos.
Yeah, no, if it is the UBX2, they've already done all the groundwork with the Curtis circuitry anyway.
Yeah.
Because
I think somebody said, let's add up how much we spent on all our analog synthesizers, because they've informed what we're about to do. Oh, it's a $3.5 million? Yeah, we'll put that on the advert. I might be wrong.
Or some guy with a ponytail stuck on his dome's gone, make up a number.
But I'm sure whatever it'll be a resounding success, and it will also be equally talked about in positive and negative ways. That's
Cherry Audio though.
But Cherry Audio though, let's go. Yeah, Cherry Audio, new synthesizer, November 21st. It's Robert's in the chat. He'll tell me if I'm wrong, but I believe the video goes live at 10 a.m. Pacific, which is 6 p.m. UK. So, and that's what 1 p.m. East Coast. So yeah, stay tuned for that one. Next, let's do something. Let's go to another big Japanese company.
By the way, I still.
Oh. Name trips off the tongue. Galaxias. Oh, what? Yeah. Anyway, Galaxias is with us, or it's with you if you are an Ultimate Cloud subscriber, Roland Cloud subscriber, Ultimate level. You need that to get this and use this. This is essentially, and I don't think I'm doing anyone a disservice here. This is kind of like Roland's version of Analog Lab in Arturia's V Collection world, where it gathers all of their products under a hood. It's a bit like Mainstage, maybe. It's a bit like Unify, where you can put... But basically, it's just Roland stuff that you can put in. So if you're a Roland Cloud subscriber at Ultimate level, this is already in your package. You can download this right now. It's all part of the subscription, nothing extra to pay. And under one instrument, you can throw in, I think, 4 synthesizers and then a whole bunch of effects. And you can then create your own big presets, your own set lists. It's a one-stop shop for the Roland Cloud. And I think it's an interesting addition to the package. So it doesn't cost you any more. It can go full screen. You can have it on your laptop on stage. It looks really, works really well in that regard. And from a sound design perspective, it's very useful. Couple of things I want to point out before we cast our opinions on this. Number one, it didn't have the greatest of launches because it came out at, I think it was 1 o'clock in the morning our time, Tuesday or Wednesday this week. And I thought, at 1 o'clock, I can stay up to 1 o'clock to have a play with this. And 1 o'clock, there it was, downloaded it, installed it, ran it, and it said, please sign into your Roland Cloud account, which I thought, well, that's fair enough. Signed in. You are not an Ultimate subscriber. And yes, I am. I've been an Ultimate subscriber for many years. Tried again, checked my password, checked my email, still nothing. Emailed support, and it took them about 6 hours. And I wasn't the only person that was experiencing this. There was a snowball rolling in the land of Roland Cloud of disgruntled users that were not able to access this. Certainly until probably normal hours morning time in the UK. So that was number one. Number two, this is currently only available as a standalone application. There is no plug-in version at launch. Plug-in version is coming soon, according to the blurb. So right now you can only use this as a standalone thing, which is not bad in a way, but if you want to use it in the DAW, not right now, I'm afraid. Oh, and there's one more thing. It is only compatible, certainly from the Mac perspective, with Mac OS 12 and above. or 11 and above. So if, like me, you've got a machine that's stuck on 10, it's not going to work, because as soon as you try to install it, it tells you need to upgrade your operating system. So I had it working on my laptop, and that's fine. I've got to play with it, and it's a very nice thing. But beware. This is, and I was, again, speaking to Kent about this earlier today. The bells are now ringing quite rapidly, telling me that I do need to update my machine so I can get my main machine on a much more recent version of the operating system. So, yeah, if you are 10.15 or below, forget it. So, just a word of warning. But I like this. I'm a Roland Cloud subscriber, so it's going to be a useful thing for me. But what about you guys, Kent? What do you think? I don't think either of you are Cloud subscribers.
No, I'm not a Roland Cloud subscriber.
If you were,
I tell you, the reason I'm not a Roland Cloud subscriber is because I'm already up to the testicles in Native Instruments stuff, and there's a similarity between these two, and so it doesn't really warrant me. I may go cloud at some point, I must admit. It's like I've got to have everything.
gotta have them all.
Yeah, God, it's the Pokemon disease.
Yeah.
So I couldn't really speculate one way or the other. I know people who have got it and have used it and say that it's the donkeys. So yeah, it sounds great. I must admit, even me, a restorer of TR-808s is going, do you know what, that hand clap's beginning to sound a bit dated, isn't it?
How dare you say such a thing?
Well, to me, it's sort of like, yeah, move on, mate. Come on. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. But, yeah, there you go. No, it's good. But, yeah, like we said, the difference between PC and Mac is, with PC you go, I think I might buy a new computer. Whereas if you're on Mac, it's, you are going to buy a new computer.
You're going to buy one now.
Yeah.
But as I said in response, the computer that I'm on here is 10 years old, and it stopped supporting the late, or it stopped supporting anything beyond 10 3 years ago. Now it still works perfectly, but there are now those applications that are just demanding that it has to be on the new operating system. That's not Apple's fault. It's the software that I use. If I was just using this for internet and basic stuff, it would still be an incredibly good computer. Yeah. But yes, what thing is though, I've had this 10 years and it's still fighting fit and will carry on in some way or somehow in this house, whether it's in the studio or whether it's with one of my kids. The next one I buy will last me that as well. It will last me, it'll be an investment, a 10-year investment, without having to do anything to it. Not that you can do much to an M1 or an M2 Mac these days, because you get what you get, and that's that. But it will stay. But I'm not going to get into the whole Mac PC thing, because we do that every now and again. It just always ends up taking up too much time. But yeah, this is one of those applications that has kind of made me think, all right, okay, yeah. So actually this weekend I think I'm going to buy my Mac Studio, and I'm a little bit excited. Andrew, you're not a Cloud subscriber?
I'm not,
right?
No. I'm kind of puzzled by this one, and I'm puzzled why people are excited about it, because you can bring up each of these instruments as VSTs and you can have whatever effects you like in whatever you do. You can bring them up on main stage if you happen to have those plugins. So I'm not quite sure what this is doing. I mean, I really like the visuals on the video and the 3D sort of thing, but that's not what you get. That's just the advert, which is a shame, because that might be kind of cool to see. But I'm not quite sure of the point, and I'm with Kent on this. Roland got in early and have done the best job, or had done the best job so far, with providing an entire infrastructure or ecosystem for plugins, where they've redone all of their different instruments, which was a great thing, and you can put them across hardware and software and God knows what else. When are they going to come up with something really groundbreaking and new? I'm just kind of, the Juno 60 has been done to death, and it's still a great sound. And there's lots of different Juno 60s out there, and I'm just a bit puzzled what this is for. So I'm not going to be jumping in to get a Ultimate subscription because, like Ken, I've got various different versions of these, and you know what? If you're going to mix 4 of them together, you're not going to be able to pick out any subtle differences between one version made by someone and another one made by someone else. You're not going to be able to pick those out once you've got 4 of them together and stuck a load of effects on. So I'm puzzled. I'm puzzled.
Yeah,
but by the way, the other thing, just to unpick the Mac PC thing, PC users are also suffering from the same thing. Lots of people are still on Windows 7. It doesn't work. It stopped being supported. Windows 10 is going to come to end of life soon, and an awful lot of functionality that Windows 11 is bringing is based on the chipsets that various either GPU or CPU manufacturers have pulled together. So everyone's facing the upgrade thing, but so I get it. You have to do some things sometimes to do this, but I don't get this. I'm not quite sure I get why.
In Roland's defence, though, I mean, you made the point, and it's a valid point about when are Roland going to do something absolutely earth-shatteringly groundbreaking and what have you. But then how long has the community, shall we say, been saying, oh, come on, Roland, give us a Jupiter 8, give us, don't give us this we don't chase analog ghosts business, give us all. So they give it all, and now then people turn around and say, well, you're not giving us anything new and exciting. So it's like they almost can't win. But I think this is an interesting tool that allows you to have one plugin to access all of your Roland Cloud plugins in a single place that will also allow you to grab other parts of the Roland Cloud, because it's not just instruments. There's samples and there's jam tracks and there's all sorts of different
native
things.
Instruments then.
It is, yeah. I think Roland just said, look, hey, we're going to have our one-stop shop
system.
And because if you look at the instrument there, you can fill your layers with all the synths. All the synths sit down there, but you've also got the effects, and you can do all sorts of wonderful things with those things once you've sort of cobbled them together. You don't have to layer 4 synths at once if you don't want to, but to take advantage of having a set of Roland instruments all in one place, it can't be a bad thing.
Listen, I'm not saying it's a bad thing at all. And I'm sure lots of people will love this, but I don't get why. I don't get what about it would. There's nothing about this that would compel me to go and buy the Ultimate plugin thing. I might be compelled to go and buy a new piece of hardware that supports all this. I'm still looking at the System 8, which I think is a great thing. But this, I don't get it. I really don't. For anything that I do, whether it's live or in the studio, I've got a gazillion plugins I can use that will give me exactly this, or not exactly, but so close as it won't make a tinker's cuss of difference. It really won't. I'd rather have good string libraries, but that brings us to another.
We'll come to that in just a moment. Yes,
thorny issue.
One thing I did notice in their adverts, this here, the eagle-eyed of you might have noticed that there is this new A88 controller, which is MIDI 2.
Oh.
So they've upgraded the A88 to MIDI 2.0. I haven't got much details on it. It was kind of a last-minute thing that I saw, but I just thought I'd point that out, that Roland have now joined the MIDI 2.0 controller party. I don't believe so, no. I don't think it's a new controller. It's a new firmware for that controller, I believe. Okay. Go and check the Roland website for more accurate information, because as I said, the Pro and ProSynth network does not necessarily stand for what you think it stands for. But yeah, just thought I'd point that out because they snuck that into the Galaxia blurb. Yeah, so if you're a Roland Cloud subscriber, this and you're at the ultimate level, then this is going to be quite potentially a very useful addition. Whether it makes you go out and buy or subscribe to Roland Cloud is another thing. You should be subscribing to Roland Cloud for what are some of the best versions of Roland plugins that are out there, and there are others are available, but that's a great collection they have there. And I think it's I still subscribe at was it 190? I think it is a year. So
I think Matt's making the point here that this is all available, Creator Sound, and them all in one window. Which, I get that, but I can only see one of them at a time.
I got confused by the word vets. I'm sure he means VSTs.
He means VSTs.
Yeah.
So regardless, I'm still not quite. I mean, I see the way it's laid out on the left there. Thank you for getting rid of that.
That's right.
But I just don't get it. I don't get it. I can.
Yeah.
I can do this already.
But there you go.
So anyway, there we go.
Galaxias is available now. It's available to all Roland Cloud subscribers at the ultimate tier level. If you are below that, you can get, or even if you haven't got it, you can get it on a 30-day trial, I believe. So you can do a 30-day trial to Roland Cloud, and you'll get to experience this and see whether it is for you or not. RolandCloud.com is the place to go, and find
there'll
out
be
more.
there'll be lots of buyers for it, I'm sure.
Yeah, I'm quite happy. I'm just a little. The thing that perplexes me most, other than the fact I can't run it on my desktop at the moment, is that it's not available as a plugin at launch. I would have thought, do it the other way around, make it a plugin first and do a standalone later. I don't know. But there seems to be a strange decision to release a product that's not quite where it ought to be. But they say it's going to get there, just not yet. Maybe we're beta testing for them. I don't know. Roland Galaxias. Yeah. There we go.
Roland Galaxias.
Right, let's see. Oh, another instrument. And this one is completely free of charge to anyone. No subscription required. But I do advise that you make a donation to the developer of this. We've actually got, I think for the first time ever, I might be wrong, we've actually got a promotional video or demonstration video for this from the developer themselves. This is the new one from Full Bucket Music, and it's called Oxid. Finish there. Synthesizer demonstration videos that use shots from the International Space Station win every time. I could sit and watch that for ages. I love that sort of thing. I even bought a DVD once. I can't remember what it was called. It was in the very early days of commercial DVDs. Earth something or other. And it was basically an entire shuttle mission that was filmed from the launch. You could watch the launch in surround sound. And then you had all of these big overhead shots of the Earth as the ISS and the space shuttle did their thing around the planet.
Kent was the pilot on that.
Apparently so. Apparently so. But anyway, let's talk about synthesizers. This is Full Bucket Music. This is Bjorn that does these, and this is Oxid, which is a simulation of the ARP Omni 2. Polysynth from the 70s. It has 64 voices of polyphony, string and synthesizer section, paraphonic madness, that's his words, not mine, additional phaser and delay effects, resizable user interface, MIDI learn, works on Windows and Mac OS. There's VST audio units and clap versions. There are versions for older versions of Windows, there we go, older versions of Mac OS, showing everyone how it's done. And let's just bring up a visual. We can do this. No, it's not going to do it on that screen, is it? Let's bring a visual of the front panel. Excuse me, this is just not my doing. There we go, and boom. There it is in all its Black and Orange Glory. There we go. Nice, neat. Sometimes the full bucket music interfaces have not been quite at the sort of level you might expect, but then they're free, so all of a sudden you just think, oh, I don't care. This one actually looks very nice and very simple to understand, easy to use. Kent, I mean, you must have had an Omni 2 through your front doors.
Yeah,
every now and again.
Many I put in the skip. Yeah.
Did you get a chance to play with this? Or
no, I didn't. But what I normally do with these type of things when they do come out is I put them through my vintage Stone phaser.
Okay.
And see what they sound like, and then I know if they sound right or not.
But this has got a phaser built in.
But yeah, but no, it's got to go.
Yeah, but
got to go through mine one.
Yeah.
So, to be honest with you, I would probably get this without any trouble, because just make a donation. It's sort of like it's being nice and helping out, really.
Yeah.
I may not use it very often or anything like that, but because I'll be honest with you, Omni wasn't my favourite. I preferred the subtler end, the string melody, Logan end, not the Selena Omni end. I like them softer.
Thing is, it's
VP, stuff like that.
It is free, and he does really, the sound coming off them is pretty authentic, generally, and it's the kind of thing that would have got. It definitely would have got Vangelis and Jean-Michel Jarre into the studio together.
Please don't. In case anybody missed it, Kent threw a little grenade into the internet earlier this week.
I love doing that. I really do.
Yeah.
Just open the door, frag grenade, close the door, run.
And no name dropping going on.
None at all. Oh dear. Yes.
But it's a nice thing.
It is. It's a very nice thing, and it's free.
And it's worth bunging a $5 or a $10
exactly.
or whatever
Just
you
buy
want
the guy
to
a pint.
at him.
Absolutely.
I love the fact he's doing this, and he does a real good job with these things.
Oh yeah, that's the thing. They're free, but they're also really, really, really good. I honestly, I mean, I don't know Bjorn at all. If he's not working for a software, a synthesizer software company somewhere, he ought to be. Somebody should have snapped him up by now anyway.
We should get him on the show.
We should try. Absolutely. Yeah, we should.
Because I'd love to know his motivation for doing all this.
Yeah.
And it's an interesting thing, isn't it, to release all this stuff for free and say, well, if you fancy it, give us some money as well. Yeah, all right.
Yeah, absolutely.
And they're good. They're good things.
Excuse me. Yeah, so fullbucket.de is where you need to go for that, and you can avail yourself of Oxid and a plethora of other freeware instruments, and then just do make sure you chuck Bjorn some hard-earned cash because he deserves it. So there we go.
He does.
Available at that website now, and I do believe the link has been posted.
And it must have cost him a lot to get a lift on the International Space Station to
film that footage and play the synthesizer at the same time.
Yeah,
amazeballs. Let's see, we've got 2 or 3 things left. This one is an interesting one. Well, it's interesting if you are a user of this particular piece of software. I do believe I have an introductory video for this one too. Let's have a look. Could go on. It does go on for a little bit, that video. So if you want to watch the whole thing, it's over on their YouTube channel. But this is the news that Ableton Live 12 is on its way and has currently entered the public beta stage. So if you want to test this, I do believe you need a license already. So you don't just go and get Ableton Live 12 for a few months completely free of charge. You've got to be an Ableton Live user, and that's the full version. And you can sign up to the public beta and get to try this out. Now, the main difference is, so let's just bring up all the new features. MIDI transformations, MIDI generators, Max for Live MIDI tools and editing improvements, keys and scales, new tunings. There's a bitimbral MPE capable instrument called Meld for deep sound shaping. There's Granulator 3, the latest version of that. There's Raw, which allows you to create everything from subtle and precise mastering grade warmth to wild and unpredictable sound degradation. New modulation behaviors, new packs in there, stacked detail views, mixes in arrangement. There's the layout of the screen looks a lot cleaner, and you see more of the stuff going on a lot easier. Lots of new themes. So there you go. There's a whole bunch of other stuff. I mean, I'm being quite light there with the specifications, but yeah, I've been getting into Live this year, and slowly but surely it's becoming a very useful tool, not just for making music, which I don't do a lot of anymore, but for other things. For example, I wanted to record 8 independent MIDI tracks at the same time, and Live literally just did it without any setting up. I created 8 tracks. I set those tracks to the MIDI ports that I wanted, hit record on Live, hit play on the thing, and boom, done, sorted. Logic, Reason, Logic, I don't know, for some reason it was just doing some weird stuff. It was recording 8 tracks, but it was only putting them onto one lane, and I couldn't figure out, even though I've got all the 8 lanes all assigned to the different channels, couldn't figure that one out. Reason, still to this day, I could only record 1 track of anything at a time. Live just did it. So I've been getting on really well with it. And this just seems like a really nice... there's nothing groundbreaking about this, but everything it's done has made things better. And I appreciate that Live isn't for everyone. It wasn't for me for many, many years. It's only just recently that I've kind of felt that it's doing a job for me. It's coming out early part, they say spring 2024, so that gives them a 3-month window, which is probably a good idea. Coming out spring. Upgrade prices are fairly reasonable. You can upgrade now, and as soon as it comes out, you'll get it. And if you are, say for example, if you're a Live 11 Suite owner, which is the top version, you can get the upgrade. The upgrade would normally be $179, but you can get it for $149. And there are similar sorts of discounts as you go through the other versions. So you can get a discount now if you order ahead. And if you order Live 11 now, if you buy Live 11 now, you'll get the Live 12 upgrade free of charge. There's a grace period from now until when it comes out. So that's not bad. So if you've been thinking about getting into Live, now's the time to do it. Buy Live 11, you'll get Live 12 free of charge. Any thoughts on this one? I know that neither of you are Live users. I say with some form of
trepidation.
Certainty.
Well, actually, we've been talking about this for a while, about Ableton, and I've been looking at it again, a bit like yourself, Robbie, because I think it now is at a point, or it was, even with 11, at a point where I can see how I can use it for Live without having to be driven down its particular way of making you work. So I can make it work for me rather than me having to work its way. And I think what this update has done has driven me even further down that path, certainly for Live, in that I'm looking at all the improvements in the user interface, which seems to be a big theme across all of the DAW manufacturers. What's happened with Cubase in 13 is extraordinary. It's suddenly become completely usable. and this has got a lot of that. So the actual the graphic interface is a really big move forward for them. It helps. It's going to make using it easier. And the packs, the new features they've got in this, I'm just looking down at the moment. It's absolutely astonishing. Just for the pack, if you were to try and buy the pack they're giving of sounds and synths and MPE abled stuff and God knows what else, and sample packs, you'd probably pay that anyway. It's a good thing. I also love the fact they've got a collection of sounds fashioned from unusual materials, percussive trinkets, unique Foley recordings, and expressive objects to infuse your productions with character and authenticity. Yeah, more of that, please.
Yeah,
someone doing something different with going back to real sample pack. I love it. I love the idea of it. I think it's a really good thing. A really good thing.
Yeah, I mean, Ableton seems to be more a way of life than it does, just a tool. It's the people that are really into it, and use it for both work in the studio and doing live stuff. And it's got how many other digital audio workstations have as many dedicated controllers on the market designed specifically for use with Ableton Live. It has created that kind of ecosystem. Yeah, I know there's one or two controllers for FL Studio. There's probably, or used to be, a controller or two for Cubase. There's lots of obviously generic controllers, but there seems to be a big kind of thing with Ableton that is, once you go there and you make it the center of your world, it stays there for a very long time. And I'm beginning to understand why that is, albeit it won't do that for me. But it's an incredibly useful tool, I think. Let's just wake Kent up and see what he thinks. So I thought you passed out there.
Sorry.
Has it ever appealed to you, something like this? Or are you so ingrained in linear sequencing I am?
I'm so dyed-in-the-wool Cubase. Cubase would have done it, by the way. You go boom, 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 and it does it.
Yeah, Cubase does do
that.
So already.
Yeah, it's if people like that setup and can work in that environment, of where things are within it, fine. I would struggle. I'd be screaming at the screen after a while because they're just so set in my ways. So I just faded into the background and do you know what? I was trying to figure out, how would you give a giraffe CPR?
What?
Well, the heart and the mouth are so far apart, aren't they? So you'd have it, and you'd have to run up to the mouth to blow, and then run back, and then staying alive, and then run back again to the mouth, and that's the rabbit hole I went down rather than think about Ableton. Sorry.
Do you remember when we had Ty on the show? I think it was Ty, and also I think it was Ty, who was saying he uses a different doors depending on what the kind of project is, right? And sometimes, I've done this where sometimes I'll start on one door and then I'll move everything over to another because it makes me think in a different way, makes me work in a different way. That's where I see the value of, for me, that's where I see the value of Ableton. I do want to be able to take it out live, take something out live, and that's not really a Cubase thing. But then Ableton's not really a film score thing, right? So I can see it. I can see it being a something that's worth engaging with, definitely. And this has just driven me that little bit closer. I'd love to know whether or not there's going to be any kind of compatibility, with the at some point between any of these doors, so I could move a project from Cubase to Ableton and vice versa, like they're doing elsewhere. That would be really cool. But yeah, it's a good thing. It's a good thing. I like it.
Yeah. Spring 2024 is when we expect to see that on the shelves, albeit virtual shelves these days. But yeah, it'll be around then. The prices will be kind of much the same, I guess. But do check back later. If you want the public beta, you've got to be a registered live owner, and you can join the public beta between now and, of course, when it gets released, if you so wish. I just don't have the time.
And someone's put in the chat, who is it? Half God, Half Beast. Live has been used for film scoring, and I'm sure it has. You can use anything. I used to use a Ferguson video star to store, time code, and and then sync things up. I in fact, so did Ty, and I think so did David Arnold. It's the kind of thing, you can make anything work that way, but it's not specifically configured for it. But if that's what you're already used to, then of course you use it for film scoring.
Yeah.
However, the basic point, you can, but it's not configured specifically for that.
Yeah. Absolutely. Okay, so Ableton Live 12 out soon. Go and check that out. Before we move on to our final topic, which was kind of a little discussion-y thing, because Kent and I were having a little natter over the virtual garden fence today, and I thought that might be an interesting thing to sort of natter about to fill the last half hour. But before I do that, of course, none of you will need reminding that Black Friday, Cyber Monday, the whole kind of Cyber Week thing kicked off today, and so loads of people are offering loads of things, and there are many other websites available, but because I work for these guys, I thought, well, I'll use this as an example. There are places where you can go and find a website that will list everything that they know of, and so here you go. So here's a list of all of these things, where the offers are, how long the offer is on for, what it is, and you can search through that, and that is growing all the time as these things go. So if you're looking for a bargain, of course, don't be afraid if you are a member of the Facebook page, the ProSynth Network Facebook page. If you find something, please do share it on there and let everyone take advantage of these great deals. I've not seen anything that's really kind of made me go, oh, I definitely need that. Although I did see an e-drum kit. I haven't got the price for it yet, but I saw it listed in the sale, and it was pretty good value for money at full price. So if it's in the sale, it's going to be even more. But I must rein my spending in at the moment.
You must.
Yeah, well, yeah, everyone. But other more important things are available. But yeah, Gear News have got a whole bunch of stuff, particularly on just like general Black Friday and Cyber Monday and Cyber Week stuff. But there's also specific posts for specific product areas. So, for example, guitars are there, and drums and synthesizers. So, Arturia, Korg, UDO, Behringer. Talking of UDO, I see Ty Unwin took a delivery of his Super Gemini today.
Oh,
Lucky
wow.
Swine. Yeah. So, plenty of deals to be had. Go and fill your boots. There you go. 20% off a Behringer TD3, a 303 for just $90. Look at that. Bargain. So yeah, plenty of stuff to be had there. Right. So this will be an interesting half an hour, I'm sure. If you've had your head buried in the sand, you probably weren't aware, but I'm sure most of you are, that there's a new sample library company that has come to light, and they have sprung up from the imagination, the boots of a guy who left the industry under a rather dark cloud. God, I can't remember how long ago it was.
2 years, isn't it?
Yeah. Now, whether you like him or loathe him, that's entirely up to you. All we're really interested in is the products that help people make their music. And this company has begun trading as the Crow Hill Company, and it's the company of Christian Henson, who was ex of Spitfire Audio, and he's no longer there. He started a company of his own that uses that is delivering sample libraries, and they launched with a free thing called Vaults, which is a very lightweight, very slim, and very useful. It launched with a piano, I believe, and now it's got a new string library attached, about 1 gigabyte. So that's completely free of charge. But of course, they are selling bigger sample libraries as well. String Murmurations is their first offering, and I'm sure there'll be more. So that's the information that we're giving you about that. But what this actually did was it spurred a conversation between myself and Mr. Spong, which I would like to sort of spill over into this fine show, and that is the thought that sample library developers as a whole seem to possibly this is the devil's advocate bit, hitting the buffers in terms of content and ingenuity and coming up with new and exciting things. It seems like 10-15 years ago there were a plethora of sample library developers. So there was East West, there was Best Service, Ubershaw. I think Ubershaw is still going, but there was lots of sample library developers, and it now seems that there are only sort of 2 or 3 big ones, and they seem to be doing the same stuff. And the reason we kind of got talking about this was looking at the Crowhill company. It just seems to be like a copy of what Spitfire are doing. It's that model of here's some free stuff and here's some good quality paid stuff. And the free stuff is kind of like the gateway drug to get you into, the bigger libraries where you're paying money. And that's a model that's been done by Spitfire very successfully, might I add. And it just seemed to me like, and it seemed to Kent as well, that sample library developers seem to be running out of steam. It's almost like, where can we now go with samples that we haven't already been? There's only so many orchestras that you can sample. There's only so many articulations that you can deliver on.
Can I summarize what you're actually? We're not talking now about Henson.
That was just
a very divisive figure. What we're talking about is whether or not
we're not talking about
sample libraries themselves have reached their nadir, as it were.
That's the word.
Nadir. And as we saw from the Ableton video, where we're looking at the new version of 12, and they've released a sample library of oddness, of odd things, of bings, bangs, crashes, whatever, which is what the kind of stuff I like as well. There's only so many. We've kind of got to the point now where the sample libraries that we're hearing, they are now down to the sort of finesse of, well, this one's been recorded in this studio, and this one's been recorded in this studio, and you can move the mics backwards and forwards. It's the same kind of thing. Maybe they'll have a slightly different take on it, but essentially we've now got to the quality level we've always wanted, but no one's doing anything different. No one's doing anything really different. There used to be a bunch of developers, people like, we talked about this earlier, just before I jumped on the show. I've not had a chance to research this, but Steve Howell was around, and then even people like I think Martin Walker made sort of weird steampunk instruments.
Yeah.
And Steve was sampling some really, really odd instruments out there and putting his own interface on it. That seems to have kind of gone away a bit, and I think that's sad. I think I'd like to see some really different sample libraries, and I guess that people that are making samplers, lo-fi samplers, for instance, thinking that if we take it lo-fi, then it'll have a sound that's different from these pristine things we already have, and I get that as well. But it's been done. So what's the next move? I think probably were Ty and or David, or any of those guys here, they, along with us, and it's a conversation we've had before, would say the next big move is going to be not sampling per se, it is going to be recreations, modelled stuff, AI sort of versions where you can take that sound and create a brand new string something and have 30 different players, that are all AI, but it's modelled, and that way you can then do whatever you like with it.
Well, we've seen the start of this, haven't we, with the harmonic stuff. So where it will see what you're playing and what notes you're jumping to and what speed you're going at, and adjusts accordingly as quickly as it humanly can. But you get a lot more realism when you play it, just live. You can just play that. So, I mean, I've had a conversation with Ty about this with the what was it called? Crow
Hill.
If you watch the demos of it, it sounds very, very good and everything else, but it's been played by somebody who knows what those articulations do and when they do them and where they do them, and stays within the confines of those of those features. So it sounds great until you download it and you play it and you go, oh, okay. And then when you try to do something that you want to do with it, it goes no, and it might, it's sort of like it'll play this fifth that you didn't want and all this sort of thing. So, and that screams to me that they're brick walled now with this. There's only so much you can do, and everything sounds like everything else. And Ty will probably agree with me if I said that probably the best sample library ever in the history of the world is the Vienna. And that was years ago, and it's still the best. And yes, it's very, very expensive, but if you make your living doing this, you get that, and the rest of the stuff is just salt and pepper on the chips.
The Abbey Road collection is really good. I love it. I think it's
the BBC
really, really good. But it's
you've got the BBC Orchestra.
Yeah,
you get that, and it kind of spoils you for anything else that Spitfire bring out.
Yeah,
because but that does it. It still does it better. Yeah, but it's the same as that. Or they've taken these patches from this and put it into that library, mixed it all up, and resold it again.
Yeah. So let me fire this back at you, Robbie. What do you think needs to happen with sample libraries? Do you think sample libraries have a future? Do you think where do you think this goes next? Do you think it moves over solely into physical modelling? Do you think it becomes how do you see this working?
I think, having seen what we've seen with companies like Via Harmonic and acoustic samples, and there are others, Swam is another product that uses modelling and sampling, and you get this kind of blend of you've got authentic sounds, authentic samples of those instruments, and then you've got the intelligence of modelling and potentially, as we 2023 will go down as the year of AI, although that's really not the term we should be using because it really isn't intelligent yet. But we use things like machine learning and clever use of modelling technology to deliver the next level of realism. Because if you look at massive orchestral sample libraries, you look at the Viennas of this world, they're huge, and you need big, fast SSD drives with loads of speed and capacity to run this stuff. And then you look at the stuff that companies like Via Harmonic and Acoustic Samples, the stuff that they're doing, albeit it's not a full-blown orchestra, but it's such a small footprint that it would be nice to not have to devote, hundreds, probably more. It probably costs you more to buy a drive, the optimal drive for things like, something like Vienna, than it does to actually buy Vienna. And I'm using that as an argument point, not an actual fact, because I don't know how much Vienna costs. I just know it's rather expensive.
12K.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's a lot of money.
For the whole,
for everything, yeah. So I think that what I would like to see is this use of physical modelling technology to give us that next level of detail when it comes to performance and articulation. That gives us that next level of authenticity. What I'd also like to see, and I think we will start to see it, is physical modelling. And when I say physical modelling, I'm talking about acoustic modelling rather than virtual analog modelling. That we're going to start seeing more of that doing doing it better than it has done before. Because, in the past, you've got to remember, at the turn of the century, God, that makes it sound old, doesn't it? But at the turn of this century,
You are.
you had physical modelling machines that had been out for a few years that were promising all levels of accuracy and realism. They weren't quite. They were doing some amazing things, but they weren't quite there. And at the same time, so physical modelling comes in and machines are a few £1,000s, and now we're getting sample libraries on CDs for 50 quid or 100 quid, or maybe, at best a few £100, with deep multi-sampling, lots of layers, lots of articulations, lots of round robins and all of this stuff. And it becomes cheaper, and actually it sounds exactly like an orchestra because, hey, it is. It's a recording of an orchestra. But the one thing that was missing, that we are starting to see more of, is the detail. But the more detail you have in the samples, the more samples you have to have, and the deeper the programming has to be to simulate human interaction. So that's where I think physical modelling is going to come.
I've always, whenever I've seen, from the birth of physical modelling, one of the phrases which always sort of sticks out, and I go and have a look straight away, is string modelling. And you think, well, maybe that's strings, bowing or something. Because what I want to be able to do is to take a string instrument like a bowed violin or a cello or a plucked cello or whatever, and then I want to be able to use that modelling, the model of the bow, on a Bosendorfer grand piano, or on a bass guitar, or on a zither, or I want to take the coin, the 2p coin that I've used, or the dime that I've plucked a shitty old guitar with that has that. I want to use that on the Bosendorfer, or on the zither, or on a expensive Stradivarius, and I want to be able to move the bow up and down the strings, and that's what physical modelling should be able to do. It should be able to do stuff which isn't, without a huge amount of engineering, physically possible, which is to be able to bow every single string on a big grand piano, or on a shitty pub piano, or on a 14-string electric guitar, or whatever. That's where it starts getting interesting.
That is kind of the pot of gold that we're being promised at the
but
end
it's never actually happened.
Of the modelling rainbow, isn't it?
Yeah, but we were promised that 20 years ago with things like the prophecy. Take this exciter, whether it's a reed or a string, and then put it through this resonator, whether it's a brass resonator or a guitar cavity or whatever it might be, and now you've got this wonderful hybrid instrument, and you can do that, but then you've got an instrument that never exists in real life because it's almost physically impossible. And some of those instruments sound okay, some of them sound quite exciting, a lot of them go, it's not really, because I guess because that instrument couldn't exist in reality, maybe we as humans just kind of go, well, it's not right. But I don't know.
That's what we used to do. We used to, treated pianos as one thing. It's an interesting thing. I was having a conversation with Oscar Caballero from the Synthesizer Club, or whatever it is, the Sound Synthesis Club, and he recently got a certificate for quantum computing. He passed some sort of thing for quantum computing. You do all this with the genos too. And we were having a sort of theoretical what-if conversation about how you might use quantum computing in sound. And my feeling is that if you use quantum computing, because it's such an insanely powerful thing, you should be able to, with quantum computing, essentially create an entire soundscape with every instrument, every surface, every note being generated on the fly with one note of polyphony, essentially. So you could create an entire orchestra with a singer and with a thing, and it's all in a space, and that's one voice. That's what quantum should be able to do, and you should be able to synthesize what those elements are and how it works and where it is, and all the other stuff you need in one thing. That's kind of that level of madness is missing at the moment. No one's trying to do anything like, you can't do it. So try. We're missing that madness. That's what we're missing.
Yeah.
You saw it too. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Now, I must admit, a lot of this comes from the bitterness that I experienced a couple of weeks ago where I bought. I was drawn in. It came up on Facebook. They're advertising this library, and it was the East West Fantasy Library. And I'm going, ooh, like that. And I went and watched the video, and it was like, ooh, and all that. I bought it. Wasn't cheap. Downloaded it. Took 11 weeks and all the rest of it. Set it all up, ran it, and was presented with stock patches that actually came from the original East West Orchestra Gold from 2005, maybe a bit later. Just rejiggered with some different effects built into the patches and stuff like that. And the strings sounded like strings I got in other libraries. The drums sounded like other taikos, and the brass was a bit. But actually, I didn't like the brass too much in it at all. And I got drawn in by the promotional video, which has been professionally mixed and laid out beautifully to make it sound as absolutely beautiful as it can. But it's only that particular setup that will sound like that, and everything else doesn't quite sound as good as that. And I just go, do you know what? Why am I? But where would you go next?
Yeah, I mean, one of the big advances in sampling in recent years has been the development of scripting within things like Contact and Falcon and so on, where you can take those samples and now manipulate them in more ways to give you different
Well, you've got
things.
granular, haven't you, for one?
And now you've got granular stuff as well. I think granular is for me, it's one of the more exciting elements of the world of sampling, which is a world I've been entrenched in for 30 odd years. And the fact that you can now take any sample, whether it's pre-existing or not, and break it into these tiny fragments and create stuff from those little bits. But we're still essentially just churning through the same stuff most of the time. I mean, sampling's been around now for so many years. I'd be surprised if there's a sound on this planet that we haven't quite sampled yet in some way. Everyone's thought about
there's probably high quality samples of otters drowning in melted butter somewhere if you really need it on an FTP somewhere, isn't it? But the thing is, the hypocrite in me has just realised I'm sort of like, I want quantum computing and physical modelling with AI learning built into it, so I can have beautiful cellos and beautiful violins, and then not write any music with that instead.
But, I mean, AI would be a useful thing to use within sampling.
And the truth is, of course, that it's about the democratization of music as well, because the more people CPR and a giraffe.
We must find out how they did it.
The democratization means that you make more of this stuff, more of this tech available to more people, and they will always different people will come up with different ways of doing something you thought could only end up with one result. They'll take the same basic blocks and they'll turn out something completely different. That's what what's always happened. Yeah. The sample libraries thing, unless they come down in price or they become something, I'm not quite sure what else they can do now. I'm really not.
And when it comes to creative sampling, which is for me a term that I use for things that aren't sample libraries of orchestras, guitars, drums, whatever. When it comes to doing what people should have or were doing in the early 1980s, Peter Gabriel, for example, who was going out into waste disposal yards,
did the same thing.
We all did. We all sampled something, whether it's running a plastic fork down a metal fence or rolling a marble down a gutter, or whatever it was. We made
a pair of mole grips up against a swing chair.
There you go. All of this kind of stuff. We'd sample that and make brand new instruments. That's never really gone away, but what really disturbed me, and I guess this is just like old man waving fist at sky, is I saw a video not that long ago of a young person, okay, so somebody who's about a third of my age, getting very excited about making a piece of music with samples that they had created themselves by, you know, banging the radiator or, you know, dropping a marble into something. And whilst it was wonderful to see a young person using technology in a very creative way and producing a really fine end result, there's another part of me that's going, we were doing that in 1982 or 1983.
Classical composers have been going through this for hundreds of years, though, haven't they?
Exactly.
You know, the instruments were there. Someone, you know, oh, he's doing something new. It's only the same bloody instruments. What can he do? Oh, he's doing something completely different. Wow.
Who was it who used to cut the legs off his piano and lay it on the floor with his ear to the top when he was composing?
Beethoven?
Yeah, I think it was Beethoven, wasn't it? Apparently, somebody
for
tried
him,
it and he
wasn't
said
it? 'Cause it was all about-
he said it's really, it's the harmonies that come out totally different.
You know, there's something. I mean, you know, I've got piano libraries up the wazoo, and I've got one of my favourites is the Urcam prepared piano, which is a UVI library for Falcon, and a prepared piano, and it's not just a prepared piano like Cage made with, you know, some screws or some erasers or some clothes pegs. They're using EBOs and all sorts of wonderful things, and some of the sounds you get out of this are incredible. But talking of pianos, you know, in our little over the fence conversation this morning, you mentioned IK Multimedia's Pianoverse, which is a very fine piano sample library, and it's going to be an ever-expanding piano sample library. And what really sets it apart, other than deeply multi-sampled pianos, is the amount of effects that you can pass those pianos through. And at the end of the day, it's just pianos through effects. It's something that we can do in many, you know, other ways. If you've got a shimmer reverb, well, there you go. You can just do that without having to buy the software. It's not a very imaginative use of sampling technology.
I saw that as a bit of a death knell of the sample library.
Yeah.
And you were just getting the samples of, you know, of other older packages that they've done,
And having
it
lots
up a
and lots
bit,
of effects.
and then sell it as a new package.
I think I've said here many times that my strong belief is if you limit the tools you have, if you reduce down the number of things you're using, you're forced then to be a lot more creative.
Yes.
Right? You're forced to.
Yeah, I totally believe
He said,
that.
having bought an OAX, but the point being that there's a real truth in that, and I think we have become so used to all of this being so easy now. All of it being so easy. Once upon a time, we'd have to sweat and go and working anywhere to earn enough money to buy the cheapest, shittiest synth in the whole wide world just to have that experience, and we'd then make that do everything. Yeah, you try to limit the tools. Well, I don't know. You work with Robbie, so so who is a very fine tool, an electric tool, I would like to say. That kind of, because we've got so much available, it's difficult to make choices and to get creative. And you only really get creative when you need to solve a problem.
Yeah. Well, I've always said that my most creative period was I had one synthesizer.
Same here.
Yeah.
On the bed with a CE1 chorus. Like a dog with two dicks.
You
Honest
had
to God, with a
you had
polysticks
effects.
and-
Oh, we dreamed of having effects.
I had to save up for that effect.
I had an Electro Voice bucket brigade device, a pedal, for doing bouncy bang, ding 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 ding. I thought it was brilliant.
Yeah.
I thought it was brilliant.
I started off with a Transcendent 2000 on top of a B35 Yamaha organ.
I had the Transcendent as well.
Yeah.
Wonderful place to start. A really good place to start. So what conclusion have we come
That
to?
we're spoilt bastards.
Well, yeah, we are spoiled. We're spoiled rotten with our choices these days.
Yeah.
Yeah, we would have given our back teeth to have this many choices 30 years ago. Yeah.
And perhaps someone who is unburdened by the realities of having all this stuff because we've had to do all this work, and by doing all this work, we have to keep doing all this work to keep all. people who are unburdened by that, people who are younger and more passionate, will work till 3 a.m. on a shitty little setup, and they'll come up with something uniquely brilliant because they're driven to. Whereas because we've got it all, almost, it's kind of, well, I don't have to do. I've not touched this all week.
Yeah.
You know, I've spent four grand on this. I've not touched it all week. It's the first time it's been on, and and I really want to spend time.
When I did the pub last Saturday, that was the last time this was on. Admittedly, it's mostly memory mugs are to blame, and they need to die, as you well know, and they should all be in skips by 2025. But
it's a brilliant thing.
Yeah, it is. You know, I've often thought, I must go upstairs and play that. Oh no, I better get sound card number 2 working now. And get the computer to read the VCOs and get some hex data back from the bastards instead of it just.
Well, I've been sat here perusing, a new computer, and all the time I'm thinking, but I could get an M8X, or I could do this, or there's that SY99 that I found on eBay that's not looking too expensive. But no, it's just keeping focused. But I think, my conclusion is that I still see there being a market for standard sample libraries as we have come to know them in 2023. I would just like to see them embrace physical modeling and possibly artificial intelligence, AI, machine learning, whatever the correct term might be, to deliver something a little more accurate, a little more maybe not just accurate, but also, the one thing I take away from things like the harmonic stuff, these sample libraries that use modeling in a very clever way, is that it makes it easier for those of us who use black and white keys to play and perform these things as a real player would. So, if you can give me a guitar library, and I've got a few that make me sound like I'm actually playing a guitar, because all of those articulations are very easy to get to.
The library doesn't make you sound like a real guitarist, though. It's the way you play it.
Well, exactly.
Even
that's
with
what I'm saying is those tools.
If the library lets you.
Yeah, but we looked at that indigenous library, the $59 guitar library that monitors the way you play. You don't have to worry about key switching. If you play 2 notes together, or 2 notes rapidly in succession, it will mimic the way that happens on a guitar. If you hit a key hard, it will play it the way that would sound. So it will. What we're looking at is the technology that works between my fingertips and the sound engine that makes that, what comes out of that sound engine, sound much more like me actually playing a real guitar. Now, I'm not saying we're there yet 100%, but we are certainly. There are many libraries out there that would argue otherwise and say, we're getting there, we're almost there, because you can sound very realistic playing one of those libraries on a keyboard.
Yeah.
I spent an age once trying to get the right sound and play the part from Wish You Were Here, Pink Floyd, the bling, ding, 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 that. And I managed to get the sound just about right with all the articulations, and I spent days just learning to play it so it actually sounded like the real thing, right? And everyone thought I was nuts, but it was the whole idea that I learnt to do something that is not, you shouldn't really be able to do on a keyboard in the same way and get that same sound. You shouldn't, but I just made myself do it. It wasn't monophonic. It was the whole, and it was a great learning experience because I had to listen really carefully to the sounds on the original recording and then try to articulate those in the way I was playing it and with the sound, which became then a performance as well. That's kind of the bit that's missing. Trying to do it all with key switches and having it done automatically. You don't learn, I don't think, you don't learn the performance. You don't learn what it is the guitarist does. So I'm still kind of,
that's what I'm saying. The scripting and the physical modelling interactions with the sample libraries can interpret your traditional keyboard performance into the performance of a guitarist, and we're getting there. You know, what you were doing, if I understand correctly, is you were learning how to play those keys in such a way as that it got as close to that guitar performance as you possibly could.
So the way one note started and finished and the next one, you know, it's just getting the
what I'm saying is that the modeling technology and the scripting technology does a bulk of that now for you, because it just interprets, you know, it translates the way your fingers play on a keyboard, so you don't have to learn those particular movements with your fingers, or the weight that you hit the key, or the way you go from one note to the other. The software, the techie
which means you're not learning.
It means you're not learning, but it means that you're getting a result that's more authentic.
And then it's just down to why you're doing it in the first place and what do you want from it. And that's just.
But isn't that the same with everything, though?
Yeah, and each of us has our own approach.
We can all do mathematics with a pen and a piece of paper.
Or with
it's a lot quicker, or use a calculator. You see, it's a lot. So all I'm saying is, we're just making, you know, our lives a little bit easier to do that, and so. But that makes
it sound like a job. You know, I think that's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
I was enormously enriched by the process of trying to learn to play as accurately as possible. And put into the phrasing of it the feel that Dave Gilmour got on the original recording, and so I was enriched enormously by that, and it stayed with me, and I've used that to do other things in the meantime. Whereas otherwise, what I'm doing is trying to recreate something. I'm not trying to recreate something. I'm recreating it using a bunch of switches, which is like the calculator or the computer. It's doing a job of work, and that's not necessarily enriching.
And we've always wanted one instrument to behave like another instrument for many, many years. We're not just talking the lifetime of the synthesizer. You only have to look at early organs and what's on the little settings. It says flute, trombone, trumpet. You know, we've been trying to get one instrument to mimic the behavior of other instruments long before elastic trickery was involved. So, you know, it's not something that's new. And would you call it cheating now if we said, well, I can do what that organ does with a little, you know, with my mobile phone? Is it cheating, or is it just damn sight more convenient and allows you to concentrate on other things? It's progress. You know, you might argue that to get from point A to point B, I can walk, but actually now I can take a car, and it takes me a lot less time and a lot less effort, and I'm more able to do other things when I get to point B. So that's all I'm saying with the technology thing.
Andrew Synth Addict has posted, everyone just needs MIDI chord packs.
That's it. That's the answer.
Yeah, you can sound like, and that's the thing. You can put together a track or a film or create a piece of art by generative whatever you want. And somehow it has created something that looks or sounds magnificent, right? But it's not you. You can't repeat that process yourself.
But it is the law that you have to wear a hoodie and then go, wicked tune, man, after you've done it. It's the law. You have to do that.
What? And on that note...
Just no.
Yeah.
And on that note, it's time to say goodbye, boys and girls.
Yeah.
That was an interesting thing. I didn't think we managed to string that out for as long as we did, and I think we could have strung it out longer. But, you know, time is time, and there you go.
When you say strung it out, do you mean strung it out library?
Oh, that too. That'd be a good name for a library. Patent that one. Thank you, gentlemen, for your continued attendance and support, and your interesting input. It's most appreciated.
You say that to all the girls.
Yeah. Thanks to everyone that watched, or whether you're watching live now or whether you're watching after the event. We love you all. Thank you very much indeed. I hope you enjoyed the show.
If they're watching after the event, do you think they saw that meteorite strike?
Oh, yeah, that was scary.
Yeah, that was...
We will be back, same time, same place next week, which will be, was it November the 24th? We'll have obviously a few new things to talk about that we spoke about today, and that will be revealed to us all during the coming week. And then the week after that, don't forget, we've got the guys from Cherry Audio back on the show to talk about their new thing, which is coming out next week, which we can't talk about now. And we might have a special guest to join those special guests. It's all very confusing, and I'm going to shut up now before I say things that I shouldn't say. Tomorrow,
is it Vangelis?
Yeah, that would be a great thing,
is it?
wouldn't it? Yeah, we've actually got Vangelis and Jean-Michel Jarre on the show at the same time
with Stravinsky,
and it's UFC style, last man standing.
Head, not to this.
Yeah. So, Ramsey is on tomorrow at 1 p.m. and then you've got Henrik's show, JX3D, which is kind of synthesizers in space is the theme. In space. And that's going to feature that man down there, Kent Spong, along with Howard Scarr, Ken Flux Pierce, and some other people whose names I apologise I forget. But yeah, that's on at 8 p.m. UK time tomorrow. So you've got Rans in the afternoon, Henrik in the evening, and possibly a pub after that.
Not possibly, there will be a pub.
There will be a pub. Jamie's got that guy, that brilliant guy from the Andertons videos. Is it Jake? I think his name is. So he's on Jamie's show, which I was on last week, which was good fun, from 6 p.m. UK time on Sunday. And yeah, there's lots of other shows besides, so tune in for that. But we'll be back same time, same place next week. I don't think we've got any guests. I don't even know if we've got a Ben, but hopefully we will. But thanks ever so much. Thanks for watching. Have a fantastic weekend.
Thank you.
Get loads of Black Friday and Cyber Monday and Doodah What's It deals, and tell us all about them.
Penny.
And make sure you share your finds in the ProSynth Network page. And also, if I can just say, buy your tickets for Synth East, which is let me just give that a proper plug, because are we
supposed to be there as an entity?
We are there as an entity. Robin invited us, and I said I would love to. And so, because what happened last year,
you or you and Ben,
at the moment it's just me. But if anybody wants to come and join me, you're more than welcome, because I'm going to be carrying a DX1 into the building, so might need some help, or a trolley,
or a hernia,
or you could bring one of those and have a shoot.
Bring your own hernia.
Excuse me. So I was supposed to go to Synth East 2023, which was the inaugural event. But unfortunately, my landlord at the time served me a Section 21 eviction notice, and so I couldn't go, because of other more pressing things. So I'm really looking forward to this. The 23rd to the 25th, it's expanded. So now there's going to be stuff going on the Friday, which is the Subotnick documentary, and Adam Buxton, who is a freaking legend, is interviewing Steve Davis, the musician stroke snooker player. So that's going to happen on the Friday evening. Then the Synth Expo is kind of like all day Saturday, and then Saturday evening, you've got Blancmange headlining, and they are brilliant live. I saw them about a year ago, and they are absolutely brilliant live. So you can buy tickets for all three events, or you can buy joint tickets. And yeah, there it is. So syntheast.com. It's in the beautiful city, my home city of Norwich. And come and say hi. We'll be there. We'll have a stand. We'll have some instruments. We might even have T-shirts, if you're lucky.
Might even have to get a hotel room for that.
Yeah. Well, there's a hotel very close by. In fact, there's lots of hotels very close by. So yeah, you won't go. So if anybody wants any recommendations, then don't hesitate to ask. But yeah, we will be there. That'll be the first show that we go to this year. Of course, the next one will be Super Booth, which we're in the process of planning as we speak. Very good, Steve.
Very good, yeah.
Sponsored by Cubase.
Right. Yeah.
Go on.
I think, what do you reckon? What does that deserve?
It's a babumtish, surely.
That's one of those, is it? But not one of these?
No, not one of them.
No, just one of those?
No.
Okay.
Yeah.
We'll give it.
Because it was wordplay, you see.
What about Tired Giant Gorilla down here? Is he going to be doing anything this weekend?
Tired Giant Gorilla.
Yeah. Spent Kong.
Yeah, we said he's going to do his thing after the Henrik show.
He's just got their penny's just dropped. Oh, that was a good.
Yeah, I think that one.
Yeah.
Okay.
No show complete without it.
I said we were finishing the show. We're still carrying on. This is turning into very public. Manny's just said, "Hey, where's my T-shirt? It's over there. That's where it is.
Yeah.
I'm going to get it to
Can't
you. Don't worry."
reach it
Same
from
with
there,
Andrew.
Manny? What's the matter with you?
I've got one, Manny. I've got one.
Yeah, we've all got one.
I've
Mr.
got
Brooks, yours will be on its way to you very shortly too. Okay. I'm definitely going to finish the show now. So thank you, everyone. Thanks, everyone, for watching live. Thank you for all the donations. Thank you for all your comments and your interactions. They've been most pleasurable. And we'll see you same time, same place next week. I don't think we've got any guests, but we'll be here doing the usual rubbish that we do.
Yeah,
Thanks for watching. Take care, everyone. Bye.
That was great. That was really